HCGChica, welcome back. We are on episode 42. I have Jenny with me today, and we have a lot of neat stuff to talk about. Some kind of unique things. We're going to be focusing more on body image, how to set your goals and being careful with setting your goals. As we all know, with HCG, it's so efficient, and so it just works so well that sometimes we can carry it too far. And so we're actually going to talk about that today because she has a personal experience with that and how she's actually come back into balance. She's been maintaining a 25-pound weight loss with HCG. A lot of you guys actually often email me asking about, like, I've seen all of your 100-pound interviews. Like, do you have anybody who's just lost like 20 pounds? Because that's all I have to lose. So actually, Jenny is going to be a really good example of that for you guys today. And again, just really the body image thing. So thanks for being with me, Jenny.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. So yeah, so how about you just give us like just all your basic stats. We've got her little puppy. What's your dog's name?
Millie.
Millie? Cute.
Yeah, Millie. So we might have to put Millie in the other room.
Like, Millie, you have to behave, yeah. Millie.
Millie. Come on. Sorry.
Cute. So yeah, just give us like your basic stats, your height, where you started with your weight and size, where you are now, that stuff.
Yeah. So 23 years old. I started HCG last May. I was 158 pounds. I just got engaged, so I was really motivated to lose the weight. And I was a size 12 to 14, and I ended it 133, and I wear about a size 2 to 4.
Okay, and you said you're 5'3", right?
5'3".
Yeah, so a size 2 to 4 as a 5'3" person is really, really good. So yeah. Now you mentioned that you initially got down even lower than that. So how low did you end up going originally with HCG?
So I got down to 123, but it was just not, I was about a size 2 steady, and I was really happy with the way I looked, but it was just not where my body wanted to be at all.
So it was like really difficult to like maintain it and stuff.
Yeah, it was, honestly, there was no maintaining at that weight. Yeah. I ended HCG at 123, and I did probably about 6 weeks of P3, and still like a yo-yo. I would jump up 4 pounds when I'd be back down, and it would be as simple as like having a bowl of oatmeal in the morning would just skyrocket me into like 4 weeks of maintaining, and that shouldn't happen.
Right.
You should be pretty solid at that point, but there was just no maintaining it. My body was unhappy. I was unhappy. I was miserable. Yeah. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't eat anything.
Yeah, and you could have thought, we're going to talk a lot more about this, you guys, but you could have thought at that point, like, well, you probably did freak out a little bit, but
I actually emailed you.
Oh, I don't remember. Yeah. Like one of the you were on a help email. It's like, I don't know. But yeah, you could have thought at that point that like, oh my gosh, HCG ruined my metabolism, or like it doesn't work, and now I'm going to regain all of it, and like you could have thought that.
Yeah, right, that's actually what my husband believes now because of all of it.
You're like, oh my
God, don't ever do it again.
Yeah, so it's like you could think that, but there's also the realization that like our body, there's a healthy level of fat that we each need to have, and we can get below it, right? But and which it sounds like you did, and your body's not going to want to stay there,
right?
You know,
unless it's completely at an underweight.
Yeah, which is painful and not, So at that point, it's good to readjust your goals, which is what you ended up doing, you know?
Yeah.
So before we get into that, how about you tell us like what ended up getting you to start? How did you find out about HCG, and what made you like kind of be open to trying it?
So we had just gotten engaged, me and my husband, and I was just miserable. And I gained the weight in the span of about 3 months. I gained about 30 pounds. So it was really rapid. I later found out that I have celiac disease, which is probably why I gained a lot of weight.
Oh, wow.
Because I was drinking a lot of beer, which I hadn't been doing. You know, eating McDonald's like twice a day, which I hadn't been doing. So I was making a lot of unhealthy life changes, which caused the rapid weight gain.
Wow.
And I just remember my mom had come into town, and we were finding a dress for me to take engagement pictures, and I was crying in Forever 21 because nothing fit. And I just remember looking at myself in the mirror, and my skin was greasy and my hair was oily, and I just felt like the most, like, just so unattractive, and I was so unhealthy, and I was just, this needs to change. Something needs to change. So I did a cleanse. That didn't work. You know, I started working out. That didn't work. And one day we were driving down the road, and my husband saw a sign for HCG on the side of the road. It was like a little clinic that did injections.
Oh, wow.
And my aunt did HCG, and she really liked it. You should try it. And that night I got online, and I ordered the drops from hcgdiet.com. And I found out later that, you know, about the pure HCG, but I was just so excited to get started. I did research on it.
Sure.
And I got my kit in the mail, and that's actually when I started watching your videos, like how to load correctly and all that. I wanted to do it right. And my first round, I lost about 15 pounds. So it really, I was excited. I was waking up every day, like excited to get on the scale to see how much I lost. And I was pretty strict on it. I didn't do a lot of cheating. I did a lot of tasting, but I could spit it out. You know? Yeah, but I did really well, and I got to a really healthy weight. I got down to 133 actually when I ended 3 rounds of it right before our wedding.
Gotcha.
And it was not until the new year that I decided to do it again.
Gotcha. I'm curious, like you said with the kind of the weight gain all in that 3-month period and kind of making different choices, what kind of led to the circumstances where you were eating differently like that? Like what were the life circumstances that made it? Because sometimes women, it's like we have life situations that we just kind of let things go more. Like what was it for you, if you don't mind sharing?
So I met my husband, and we were just
having fun.
We were eating constantly.
Gotcha.
And I just turned 21, so you know, drinking was you know, exciting, and you know, we were dating and in love. So I just
having fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Gotcha. That sounds similar actually to me when my husband and I first got married. I was not even 20 yet when we got married. And and I used to work out like, you know, a few times a week, like late at night. I'd go to the gym at 10. Yeah. But once we got married, it was like, I'm not going to the gym. I'm going to stay home and cuddle with my husband and eat popcorn.
Like all of your motives just go, I'm not gonna take care of myself.
And then you're like, oh man, these pants are getting tight. Oh man. Yeah. Okay, cool. So it sounds like it was drastically different, and that's interesting about the celiac disease. Now, how did you find out that you had that?
Actually, I found out in August, right after. So I started HCG in May, and I ended in August. And I decided to get my blood tested because my aunt found out that she had celiac disease, and my mom said, like, you have all these similar symptoms. I had these canker sores that I'd get on the corner of my mouth about twice a month. My moods were just, you know, up and down. Like, I was so irrational. My hair, I'd have dandruff really bad. Just things that you don't normally, like, I'd get 7 cold sores in my mouth.
Really?
The blue sky, like, out of nowhere.
Wow.
So I got tested. I actually tested negative, but I had been on HCG for so long that I hadn't eaten gluten. Gotcha. So if you don't eat gluten, you're going to test negative. But the doctor said he's positive that I would test positive, but I'd have to eat gluten for about 3 or 4 days and then come back and get tested. I was like, I'm just going to take your word for it.
I feel better.
So I've been off gluten for since August, but I've had my slip-ups. It's hard.
Gotcha.
But I haven't had any symptoms since I stopped.
Great. And you mean August of the prior year, right? So
yes.
It's been over a year.
September now. Yeah, so August of 2015.
Gotcha. Thanks for sharing that. So, like, since you've been off of gluten, has, like, the cold sores and stuff, has that cleared up quite a bit?
Completely gone. And it was crazy. Like, I had this just in that corner of my mouth about 12 months, and it was horrible. I mean, it would like go down, and I also got one on my chin, like a cluster of them. And it was just horrible.
You know, I know someone who gets cold sores, and I feel like, I mean, I know they can be due to other things like stress, but like, it makes me curious now if they took gluten out. I wonder if if it would go away.
I'm a firm believer. I definitely think
Wow,
it's crazy.
interesting.
You don't think how like all the things that gluten can affect because it is an autoimmune disease. So we're
Right,
talking everything from, your skin to your mood,
right.
to your stomach. Like my stomach problems have gone away. Um,
Wow.
digestive, it's everything. It affects
Yeah.
everything.
Now, if you said on occasion you might digress and have a little bit, do you have any major digestive upset when you do that?
Yes, yeah. So like if I have a beer or maybe like a piece of bread, my stomach is just like in knot. Like I had
Yeah.
some cake today
Yeah.
at work and
Yeah.
my stomach was just
Oh.
in knots and I'm sitting there like I just need to go to the bathroom
Right.
or
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
want to go home. Like
Wow.
but when I don't eat it, it is just I feel healthy. I don't wake up bloated. So it's
Yeah.
great.
I think that's great. Thanks for sharing that. I think for a lot of people, you guys might want to consider that. That's the nice thing about HCG. That's actually how I ended up discovering. I've never been tested either for celiac. I definitely know I'm intolerant of it because of what happens now when I eat it. But
Hmm.
yeah, that was actually how I inadvertently went gluten free for 3 months
Yeah.
because my first round I didn't eat the grissini,
Right.
and so I just was gluten free for, like the whole 6 weeks, and then P3, of
Yeah.
course, no starches. And so by the end of that period, I think I had something with bread or something like that. And I mean, I thought I had to go to the emergency room. Like my intestines, I felt like there was literally like a forest fire going on in my intestines. Like
It's
it was
miserable.
it was
Yeah.
so painful. And I've had it a couple times since when I accidentally consumed it. For me, like the feeling is
Hmm.
strong enough to like avoid it 100% because it's so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
But
pretty miserable.
yeah, but I just want to let you guys know, like I never had that reaction before. Like I used to eat bread and cheese and wine, and like tons of sourdough bread, never felt any digestive discomfort, like at all. So just because
Mhm.
you think like, oh, I feel fine when I eat bread doesn't mean that your body is
Just get
doing
off
well.
it for a little
Yeah,
while.
I actually, from what I read, I think it takes 2 to 3 months for your intestinal lining to actually heal
Yeah.
enough without it
Hmm.
before you'll be able to like then reintroduce it and see how your body really reacts, something like that.
Yeah.
But that can go a long way to probably helping a person maintain, I think.
Hmm.
So
Definitely.
yeah, okay, cool. So I'm glad we talked about that. That was really good info. So let's get back then to, so you found out about it and you ended up trying it out. Now, did you ever do injections on any of your rounds or just the drops?
No, I only did the drops.
Okay.
I get kind of freaked out with injections,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
just the drops. Yeah.
I didn't have my injection tutorials out yet, probably.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
they're there, so you guys don't have an excuse. Cool. Okay, good. So, so let's go ahead and get into then what happened when you initially got down to the low weight of 125. Like, why did you end up pushing to go lower like that? Maybe start
Yeah,
there.
so when I ended at 133, the new year came around and I was just unhappy. I would look in the mirror and I would just pick, 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 pick.
Yeah.
Your hips are too big or you still have that pooch. You should do another round of HCG.
Yeah.
And I remember you had a video that said if you have less than 10 pounds to lose, you
Yeah.
probably, find a different route.
Right.
I was like, well, I guess I could, push to 10. I guess I
Yeah.
could lose 10 pounds,
Yeah.
I had this goal. I wanted to be 120 pounds. That's what I was when I graduated high school. That was
I
what I
see.
wanted to be.
So it's like that number
So
you had in your head since you were younger.
yes, it was the number. It wasn't, how healthy I felt.
Right.
So I did another round and I got down to 123 and I was just over the moon. I was so happy. I was super thin. I didn't have a pooch anymore and I just felt so happy with my progress.
Yeah.
And then P3 started and I started trying to integrate back into my diet, healthy starches, healthy carbs. And it was non-existent. I started really slow. I'd have like a egg white omelet in the morning and then maybe some yogurt. But once I started trying to eat, like oatmeal is one of my favorite things,
Yeah.
it would just bounce up about 2 to 3 pounds the next day.
Yeah.
And we'd go out to eat with his grandparents and I couldn't eat like any appetizers that had cheese dip or anything because I knew that I would gain the next day. So it was it was almost more strict than on HCG because
Gotcha.
I was, back in the real world, but I couldn't eat anything.
Yeah.
And so I decided, well, I'll just start working out. I was in about 6 weeks of maintaining when I decided maybe I'll just start working out and, maintain that way.
Yeah.
Because maybe then I could eat more if I'm going to be working out.
Yeah.
So I started working out about 3 days a week, and my weight just started skyrocketing.
Yeah.
I gained about 5 pounds, and I was so unhappy, and I was considering doing another round of HCG, and my husband was like, pump the brakes.
Yeah. Hold
Like,
on.
maybe you should not do it.
Yeah.
And so I started evaluating why I wanted to be at that lower weight, and it was my mind. I wasn't taking into consideration, maybe it's not healthy for me to be that thin.
Right.
I have, curvier hips, and when I'm at that weight, like, you can see my hip bones protrude out, and it's just not. I felt like it wasn't me. It wasn't what I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so I didn't look at my scale, and I just started listening to my body. And I would eat healthy. I wasn't, eating bad. I was eating healthy, and I was working out, and my body got to the point where it was comfortable, and I would, I could get on the scale, and I was about 133, 132, and I would like, okay, let's test it. Let's eat something.
Yeah.
And next day I'd still be the same weight.
Cool.
And I was happy, and I was comfortable, and I didn't have to stress out about, oh crap, I just ate, a bite of a chicken wing. Maybe I should go, throw it up.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Miserable.
Man, that's amazing. So that's such a difference. And I like that you shared the contrast because sometimes, and this can be true sometimes, that that you can gain from like food sensitivities and such, but in your case we see it's not, because at your higher weight you can eat those foods and not gain weight, whereas at the lower weight you did. So there was something else going on. That's interesting. So I thought, why don't we talk about like your history with, you mentioned eating disorders, and like from your youth, like, and how that can play into like what you end up trying to do with HCG and maybe making it unhealthy in some cases.
Yeah. So during my high school years, I had a really unhealthy view of my body. I was, going through puberty, so I was gaining weight in places I wasn't used to, and I decided that I would maybe try bulimia. And I was pretty strategic about it, and it was very unhealthy. And it became my lifestyle, but I was happy because I was maintaining a really low weight. But it was an unhealthy viewpoint on life, and it would almost be like, if something happened, like if I got angry or sad, I would go throw up. So when I did HCG, when I'm older, afterwards, when I was getting into that mentality of, well, I need to be lower, I need to be thinner, my weight needs to go down, I need. I wasn't thinking about what was healthy for me and my body. I was thinking what's healthy for, my eyes. What do I want to see? What do I want to look like? Instead of saying, listen to yourself, listen to your body. So I would, when I was trying to maintain at 123 and I eat something, those thoughts would come back in my head. Oh, well, just go throw it up real quick, get it out of your system. Instead of, having a healthier mindset.
So it kind of made some of the old things from your past like resurface a bit, because it was kind of similar in a way, because you're focused on these numbers and getting down and thinking that you could, and you just kind of get wrapped up in the vortex almost, right?
So I think finding your motives in weight loss, when you decide you want to lose weight, what is the motive behind it? Is it to be healthy, or is it to fulfill, a mental image that you have, or that you should have, of your body?
No, that was good. I think actually in your email, you had said something about something about just checking yourself whether you're having mental goals versus just physical goals. I thought that was well put.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you want to lose weight just to satisfy a mental need, rather than a physical need, I think, you should reconsider it, because
Yeah.
it can get unhealthy really fast, especially eating 500 calories a day.
Yes.
That mentality of eating less, even getting into anorexia,
Mm-hmm.
eating as little as possible,
Right.
without the hormone sustaining you.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are like I was telling you this earlier. I was listening to a podcast about a woman who went to school for psychology and athletes because there's a lot of eating disorders in the athlete world because
Mm-hmm.
like for instance in bodybuilding like fitness competitions women they have to cut weight, right? They have to go through a cutting phase to get really lean to go up on stage, but no one can ever stay that ripped. It's only for
Yeah.
that competition. um, so no one can stay that way and they get like major body dysmorphia because they've seen themselves now at this super super lean ripped, you can see every muscle um, look, and then when they are done with their competition they can't stay that way. It's just it's not healthy. So then you
Right.
gain 10 to 20 pounds, which is actually your normal weight, but now because you saw yourself so much thinner you're not happy with what you see and you feel like you look fat, you know.
Right.
And so they were, so that's one of them, and even in other things like she mentioned rowing and different stuff. But so it's definitely a real problem where you can get a wrong perception of yourself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
Now I'm curious, how did you, because it sounds like when you dealt with the bulimia that you originally came to terms with that before you got engaged and started the program. So
Yeah.
how did you initially kind of recover from that?
Well, actually, I was 16 when I started my eating disorder,
Yeah.
and as soon as I graduated high school, I went to a Bible college, and
Oh,
I started. I experienced the Lord, and
yeah.
I it healed me of mental, you know, body image issues, and
Cool.
like self-loving,
Good.
how to love myself, and so that's what really, honestly, that's what did it.
Wow, that's good to hear. Just kind of showing what really matters in life, it sounds like,
Yeah, definitely.
which is not really so much about looks, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just learning how to love yourself.
that's great. So yeah, so you did come to terms with that, but then when exposed to a certain environment again,
Yes.
it's like it kind of brings things back that are
Right. Yeah.
familiar. So so that's good. And I guess we kind of already talked about it then with just like checking yourself, but like, do you have any other thoughts as far as for someone that might have a similar background who's doing HCG or thinking of it? I mean, is there
Mhm.
anything else they should really keep in mind or be cautious of that could help them to make sure it doesn't turn into a bad experience?
I would just say support. I know I had a lot of support from my family and from my husband, just being constantly told you're beautiful.
Yeah,
Just a lot of getting support from outside,
that's
so you're
good.
not constantly inside.
Right.
And just like negative self-talk.
Yeah.
Um, when you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, oh, gosh, Jenny, your hips look huge today.
Yeah.
And then stopping yourself and saying, Jenny, you're beautiful and your hips don't look big, your hips look bomb.
Yeah, yeah.
Go eat some breakfast.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
good.
so I think just recognizing how you talk to yourself has really helped me a lot.
Yeah. I'm glad that you said that because I definitely when I was younger I did a lot of negative self-talk too. And I was very, very
Mhm.
critical. I I don't know if I had an eating disorder per se. I didn't eat. I was very strict with what I ate, but I did get, pretty thin. But I didn't
Yeah,
eat and everything. But I definitely didn't have a good body image at all because I was very thin and I still wasn't
right.
happy with my body. And it's so sad when I think about it now. Like all the energy and
Yeah,
time I wasted of those years, like thinking about that,
yeah,
instead of just being happy and
right.
doing stuff in life. Such a
Yes,
waste.
I read this thing that said, it said, I wish I was as thin as I was when I thought I was fat.
Yes, I love that. I think I've seen that one. I
Yeah.
know. It's so
Love
ridiculous.
yourself in the moment because you look great.
Yes, I know. It's so true. So where do you think your perceptions of like what you should look like came from originally? Like, I mean, was it from like magazines and billboards in school or what? I mean, where do you think it really came from
I
originally?
think it was all around, and not to throw my mom under the bus, but she'd had a pretty negative self-image. And so growing
Yeah.
up, I would listen to her have a really negative
Gotcha.
talk about herself, and it kind of embedded in me, maybe
Yeah.
I'm not good enough. And then
Gotcha.
of course seeing, I was a cheerleader, so I had a lot of like
Gotcha.
image issues.
Right.
Like I wanted to be pretty and I wanted to be thin, and
Yeah, and I have those super short
mag-
skirts, so.
yeah, yeah, magazines and TV shows.
Yeah.
If I feel like if I maybe grew up nowadays
Yeah.
where it's body positive images are more prominent now than back then, might have helped me. But definitely a lot
Yeah.
of outside influence.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, it's kind of everywhere, and it is changing, but like it still needs to change more, you
That's,
know? But
yeah.
I think this is good advice, like for moms out there, like if you're a mom with a daughter, like I don't have a daughter, so my son, I mean, I need to be careful, of course, what I see in front of him too, but I do have a good body image now, but I had the same experience, and my mom, she realized it partway in, and so she stopped, but it was kind of
Mhm.
too late. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not her fault. She had her own body image things, but it was that constant always feeling bad and like you don't have worth because you're
Yeah.
overweight. And so, yeah, so
Right.
when I grew up thinking like, wow, it's the worst thing in the world to be overweight. Like I need to do whatever possible, like
Yes.
my life will just, I can't even be alive if I'm overweight. I mean, that's how I grew up kind of feeling, like,
Yeah.
and she never made me feel bad. She was with herself, but that
Right.
was
But
the
it rubbed
impression.
off.
Yeah, that like, wow, that's just the worst thing in the world. I have to just
Yeah.
do whatever I can to make sure that never happens, um and then I got overweight eventually and realized like, hey, I can learn to live with this. It's
Yeah.
fine.
It's
I'm
not
still
that bad.
alive. It's okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then yeah, just realizing it's not the most important thing.
Yeah.
And one other little thing I just was think I would share is uh, I go to CrossFit. I talk about it all the time. So the overall body type there is more muscular because everyone there is working out,
Right.
and so I see a lot of legs in short shorts that look actually quite a bit like mine, which are fairly stocky. They're muscular. They're thicker, and
Hmm.
so it's really helped me to embrace and be very confident in my
Yeah.
body and the thicker areas.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas before I felt very self-conscious of them.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
yeah, so I do think having that like positive portrayal, and they are starting to have that a little more in the media, well, not completely, but a little bit.
They're working on it. They'll get
Yeah,
there.
so I think
Yeah.
that's important for moms to remember though with daughters that we have a
Def-
huge power over how they end up thinking of themselves.
yeah. I
Yeah.
also, my stepdad, he's a lot better now, but back in the day,
Yeah.
we had a rocky start together, and it was a constant. My biological father was very overweight, and it was a constant. You're gonna have weight issues your whole life. He was trying to
Oh,
help me.
I see.
Make me aware of what I could potentially face in the future. But as
Yeah.
an 8-year-old hearing you'll have weight issues your whole life, it kind
Gosh.
of there.
Oh, that's horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely, how you speak to children, they're
Right.
sponges, complete sponges. Even if you don't think it's the worst thing you could say to a child,
Right. They're
they're gonna
soaking
just
it up. Yeah. Especially from the people they look up to.
exactly,
So,
yeah,
yeah. And I thought it was interesting how you talked about numbers too, how sometimes we get a number in our head and it's just totally like random. Like, really? It's like
yeah.
has nothing to do with
23,
anything.
that's your number.
Yeah, like I think I had a similar thing. Well, when I was smaller, it was like 110, and then later I kind of moved it to 120, but it was
Yeah,
like anything above 120 was just terrible,
yeah.
So as long as I was
Always
there under them. Yeah.
mine, like, okay, I'll get down to 135. That's where I want to be. And then I
Yeah.
got to like 140, and I was like, oh, let's do 130.
Yeah.
And then it just kept getting lower and lower and lower and lower. So I
Yeah.
feel like even if I got to 123 and I maintained it,
Yeah.
I would still probably want to go lower because
Yeah.
it was a mental goal that I had.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's so interesting. Yeah, so
Yeah.
finding a way to change our goals too, like, you
Hmm.
know. So share a little bit of the positives of like this whole thing with like the kind of purposefully in a way 11-pound gain, being stable there. Like you said, you're pretty stable now in your current weight range, right? For a while.
Yeah.
How long has
Yeah.
it been?
It was about, I'd say, probably March to April of this year,
Yeah.
when I decided to kind of loosen the reins a
Like
little bit.
embrace it. Yeah.
Yeah, just make some new goals. But it's been great because I'm completely stable and I don't have to worry about constantly being in this mindset that don't eat, don't eat, don't eat.
Yeah.
I can have a piece of cake at work,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
I want to a little bit, and
Yeah.
it will be okay. I know that tomorrow morning I'm
Yeah.
going to wake up on the scale and it's not going to be 3 or 4 pounds more.
Yeah.
So it's been really, really refreshing to be at a weight that I'm happy with, and just learning to accept myself for my body type and
Yeah.
how where my body wants to be, and being able to maintain that is.
Yeah. And you do look fantastic. You look really good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's
Thank
really
you.
awesome. So what do you like? What types of foods then do you eat? In everyday life? Like what kind of stuff do you eat?
So, in the mornings, I like to have like a green smoothie, or like a cup of non-fat Greek yogurt with a little honey, or oatmeal, which is my favorite. And
So
then
happy you can have that again, huh?
it's wonderful. The brown sugar and maple syrup.
Yeah.
To the,
Awesome. So you can even have a
yeah,
little sugar and it's fine.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. I have sugar, out in moderation.
Yeah.
And then for lunch, I like to eat a really light lunch. So I'm usually not really hungry, so I'll have like 2 hard-boiled eggs and
Yeah.
maybe some cheese and
Yeah.
cherry tomatoes.
Yeah.
And then for dinner, I like to eat a large portion of meat, whether it's steak or chicken,
Yeah.
or fish. And then my thing right now is roasted veggies, so I'll just roast a bunch of veggies and eat
Yeah.
this huge portion
Nice.
of veggies.
Awesome.
Yeah, but that's pretty much how it goes. And then on the weekends, I like to not be as strict. I'll eat, I'll have some wine, or
Yeah.
we'll go out to eat. So
Very cool. That's awesome. And how about like tell us a little bit about like your fitness routine that you've got going on.
yeah, well, I just started a new job, so
Right.
it's been hard
Yeah.
to get in the gym. So
Well,
before
prior to that.
I was doing about 3 to 5 days a week in the gym, doing a lot of high intensity interval training,
Okay.
and then I would focus on different muscles on different days.
Yeah.
But my new schedule is 11 to 7:30, so a big portion of the day is taken up at work.
Yeah.
But we're actually going to be joining CrossFit here shortly. My husband's really wanting to do it, so here shortly we will be members.
You're
of the
gonna be a
CrossFit
fanatic.
so
Join the crowd.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, CrossFit's, I think you'll love it. It's awesome. Yeah, that's good.
I'm excited for it.
That's really cool. So, and you probably don't actually track like your calories or anything like that. You just eat and.
Yeah, I had a little calorie tracker on my phone.
Do you know like about how many you eat maybe at a given day?
I eat probably about 1,000 calories a day. Probably a little more than that if I'm gonna like have a high protein day.
Gotcha.
Where I'll eat protein. I try to eat at least 30 grams of protein every meal.
Yeah.
To do that about once a week.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I get really lax on my protein.
Yeah. So that's actually kind of a fairly low calorie intake still. I mean, I guess you're small.
Yeah, I'm not usually that hungry during the day.
Yeah.
So, when you said eat to hunger,
right.
that has stuck with me.
Wow.
Like if I'm not hungry, I'm not gonna eat.
Yeah. Well, I have to give credit because I didn't steal it, but that's from Robin Woodall, so I have to make sure I give credit to her. So Robin Woodall's the one who, from her book Weight Loss Apocalypse, she's the one who talked all about the hunger scale and eating to hunger. So that's cool. Yeah, well, that makes sense then. It's like if you're not hungry for more, then why eat more,
Right.
So that's good. That's very mature, So thank you so much for that, Jenny. I really appreciate it. I feel like we learned a lot, and I just think, for everybody out there, this is just a good reminder, to check yourself at times that this protocol can be misused. And we want to do it in a way that's healthy and that will leave us feeling good about our bodies, not bad, So.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, it was so nice meeting you today.
Yeah, it was nice meeting you too. You completely got me through all of my rounds of
Aw,
HCG. And anybody I tell about HCG, you have to look at
aw.
HCG Chica. Any question you have, she's gonna answer.
Thank you.
So,
Thanks a lot. I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad I thought to make videos of stuff because I'm getting tired. So, like, if I
yeah.
was still like having to do stuff like email or live all the time and repeating it over and over,
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, I can't do it anymore. But thankfully, it's on video. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording.
Okay, awesome.